Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk on this tweet that I seen where it was, the person, because it's a quote tweet, and I'll be talking about what the quote tweet says, but overall it was a person posting a clip of Spider-Man 2. For those that don't know, there is a company, I guess for those that don't follow gaming, but there's a company called Insomniac Games where they've been making the Spider-Man games. And can I just say real quick, because I am a fan of the Spider-Man games, I had to say, out of all of the games to come out over the recent years, Grand Theft Auto 5, the first Destiny, the first Division, and the Spider-Man series would probably be my go-to favorite games. Like, and that's because I've dumped so many hours into each game and stuff. Like, I played the Spider-Man game, the very first one that Insomniac Games made. I played that one time. I played the Miles Morales one a couple of times because the first time I played it on the PlayStation 4. And, that game was not optimized for the PlayStation 4. It was, if that stream is on my gaming channel, you'll see what it looked like, because it was bad. It was pretty bad. Like, I didn't even know what had happened. I remember I had to look it up on YouTube to see the ending of the game, because that's how poorly optimized it was on the PlayStation 4. And I'm like, man, I don't even know why they even released that game on the PlayStation 4 if it was going to play out like that. But then Spider-Man 2 came out. Bro, it's... For those that have never played the Spider-Man games, you have to play the Insomniac games. Like, the older Spider-Man games was okay, like the Amazing Spider-Man games. The Spider-Man games that they came out with on PlayStation, they were alright, but these Insomniac Spider-Man games, no, it's definitely the ultimate Spider-Man experience, because with the second Spider-Man game that they came out with, they had it where you was pretty much playing as multiple people. They had it where you played as Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Mary Jane, and then you got to play as Venom. And I'm thinking to myself, and not like you get to play as like Venomized Spider-Man, but no, you got to actually play Venom, like Tom Hardy Venom, so yeah, man, that Spider-Man 2, I would have to say, in the recent years, like, if somebody were to ask me what is the best game that I played in the recent years, Spider-Man 2, 100%. And I know there's a lot of different games out there. People are gonna say, oh, this game's good, that game's good, but I did not have the same experience with those other games than I did with Spider-Man. Like, you cannot change my mind, because yeah, there are a lot of different games that I have played over the years, but man, Spider-Man 2, that was a different experience. That was one of those games where I was like, man, like, I was excited when they announced the game, and then when the game came out, I was like, bro, that's a game where I have a physical copy of it. I don't plan on getting rid of it. It's like, it's one of those games where I would get rid of my whole video game collection besides that game. Like, there are some games I am just going to keep because they were that good. So, and I'm like, I honestly, like, I think, the last time I remember I got that invested into a video game where I was so excited to play it, and I was like, man, I just got to play this game straight. I think it even got to a point where I was like, no, I need to, like, chill on this game. Like, I need to take me a break. But man, it was definitely one of those games where I'm like, you cannot beat it. There's no other, not more so saying like you can't beat the game, but there's no other games, in my opinion, that can beat out that game and the amount of fun that I was having with that game. So yeah, man, Spider-Man 2 is definitely one of those games where I'm like, I wouldn't trade that game for nothing. I'm like, it would have to be like, what, Spider-Man 3, and they have it where it's like you get to play as the villains or something. That'll be the only way I'll trade that game. You get to play as the Spider-Man and Miles, like all the Spider-Mans, Venom, the villains, like you get to play as everybody. That'll be the only way. But other than that, yeah, Spider-Man 2, that's staying in my collection. And you know what? The funny thing is that if I were to trade in that game, I'll just buy it digitally on PC. So I'm like, or PlayStation, one of the two. But I'm like, I have to have that game in my library is somewhere, So, but overall though, I do remember where they were hating on that game when they very first came out. I even remember somebody tried to share a video making it seem like that the swinging mechanics in the game wasn't all that good. And it was funny because that's what they did. And I'm like, because it looked weird. Like, something had looked off with it. Like, it was a Spider-Man game, but I was like, something had looked off, and I think that's what it was. Either they wasn't, I think it was they were playing a different Spider-Man game and they were trying to pass it along. It was either that or they had to have not been swinging right, because I'm like, for those last 3 Spider-Man games, the swinging mechanics were amazing. So that's why I was all like, I think that's what they might have been doing, was playing the Amazing Spider-Man and made it seem like that the swinging mechanics wasn't good. I have to find that video again. It might still be available on Twitter if the person hadn't deleted the tweet or if they deleted their account. But yeah, they were trying to like make that out into a thing. I know that the game, it did have some bugs, because there was a couple of bugs that I experienced. One where it was like Spider-Man couldn't even hit people no more. But I did restart the game, started it back up, and then I was able to get through that fight. What else? Oh, and then that was the other glitch, was that once when you beat the game, Spider-Man turned into a cube. Like, it's just a random cube just running and floating and flying around and stuff. And I'm like, what is going on with this game? But it was something where I'm like, fam, I'm still a fan of this game. All right, I'm not going to hate on it for that reason. The game is still playable, you know, compared to other games that I played over the years where you can't even get past the first boss fight. Some games act like, oh, the developers, they're like, we ain't gonna come out with updates until we feel good and ready to come out with an update. Whereas some other games I done played, oh, video games where the developers, after a few days of it being out and they don't live up to expectations, they just close up shop. Spider-Man 2 didn't do that. So that's why I'm like, I'm very confused by it being a good game and people having ill feelings towards it. But anyways, so I seen this tweet where is a person sharing a video. And it was a person named Mr. Kale's Game. They, so that was the original tweet. And they said, Marvel's Spider-Man is still one of the best games I've played this generation. Facts. I'm not going to take that away from that person, you know? And then another person that goes by the name at Nike Tech Ranger. I like that name. That name is actually kind of dope. Like, if I have the name TMossBoss, that'd be one of those things I'll contact them and be all like, hey, can I, how much you charging for that name? All right. But anyways, but they said, don't let Twitter catch you enjoying Spider-Man 2. And then I started looking at some of the replies, and yeah, there was like people quoting, I guess like this first person, they went on and said that it was like quoting somebody else saying how Spider-Man 2 is so mid. And I'm thinking to myself, Are we talking about that Spider-Man 2 game where the little girl had you chasing the balloon all over the place? Like, every time I started that game up, it's the same thing over and over again. Or are we talking about this generation of Spider-Man 2? Because if we're talking about that old one, okay, that I can understand why you would say that game is mid. But if we're talking on this new Spider-Man 2, and so, no, I started to kind of doing some research, because, no, that's what people were saying. They were saying that they didn't like the Spider-Man game, and I'm hearing things where people are saying that the story is bland, and I'm like, I don't know whether if the story, because it's pretty much, it's the basic superhero story. They got you going up against the villain, you beat out the villain, and I mean, I don't know what they overall expected. I'm like, and it's, especially if it's something where it's like, if it came from the video games, I don't know, or not video games, but from the comics, if it came from the comics, or you saying that Stan Lee, he messed up with that story? It's Spider-Man fighting a villain, he beats the villain, and then on top of that too, they even had it where you're playing as Spider-Man fighting Spider-Man. So they add, spoiler alert, they do have it where Peter Parker, he does get the Venom stuff within him and stuff. And then they do have it where you play as Miles Morales and then you fight up against Peter Parker. Bro, I remember playing that, and that's, you know, that's another thing that I like about the game, is that they're not treating it like it's this generation of a Souls-like video game where they're like, oh, it's unplayable, pretty much. Like, you have to, oh, you can skip past the that boss and go up against it. I'm like, bro, who buys a video game to skip past parts of the game? Like, that's, I'm like, people, when they say things like that, I'm like, that's, but they don't do that. They have like a difficulty settings where it's like story, and then easy, medium, hard, new game plus. So if you wanted to like try different methods and ways of playing the game, you very well can do that. But I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, the story, in my opinion, wasn't bad. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess it doesn't take a whole lot to impress me, but the story wasn't bad. They had it where you got to play as Peter, so you pretty much, it was almost like Grand Theft Auto in a way, how they had, like, where you could play as Michael, Trevor, and Franklin, but they did have it where you were playing as, Peter Parker and Miles Morales. So they did kind of take that, no, yeah, that was because they did have that first Spider-Man, and then they had the second Spider-Man, and it was the Miles Morales one. That was when you just got to play as Miles Morales. But they pretty much combined both games. You know, I think maybe might have trimmed down the missions a little bit, but it's one of those things where I'm like, man, I would have loved to have seen DLCs for the game. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I wish that the game continued on. Like, there is still, like, the side stuff to do, but when I beat a game, it's not so much as like it's unplayable, but it's just, man, like you've done everything that you did in the game, so it's like, what more can I do? And I'm like, man, I'd want to do more. So that's why I was like, man, Insomnia, I really wish that they would have came out with DLCs, but I get it, I understand. You know, they're the type of persons where they're like, hey, we just want to come out with this one game, put everything that we possibly could, because yeah, the first Spider-Man game, amazing. Miles Morales, probably at the time being, that was the best Spider-Man game of all time. Then when they came out with Spider-Man 2, I was like, it's one of the best video games of all time. Not even just best Spider-Man games, no, one of the, because yeah, out of all the Spider-Man games to ever come out, Spider-Man, the Insomniac Spider-Man 2 game, that is without doubt the best Spider-Man game of all time. And because my thing is this, like I said, you got to play as two different Spider-Mans, and then on top of that, you got to play as Venom. Now, they only have it where you get to play as Venom for a little bit, but still, it was one of those things where it had me convinced, well, not convinced, but it had me pretty much saying in Insomniac, where I'm like, you guys need to come out with a Venom video game. And I think they are coming out with one, I just don't know exactly when. But yeah, I'm like, I'm still trying to piece it together. How is Spider-Man 2 a bad video game? Because again, if we're talking on that old one, then I can understand why. But if we're talking on this new one, how? Because it's one of those things, you're getting the ultimate Spider-Man experience. So explain to me, like, what could you possibly... Because the thing is this, though. The first Spider-Man, when Insomniac Games, when they came out with that first Spider-Man game, nobody wasn't saying anything bad about it. At least I didn't hear anything bad about it. The Miles Morales one, if anything, it'll probably be like the typical racist people on like, no, I think Spider-Man is too urban. I don't like Spider-Man. And so, yeah, those be the only ones. Spider-Man 2. You get best of both worlds, where it's like you get to play as two different Spider-Mans. Like, the only way that they'll be able to beat out this Spider-Man game is if they have a Spider-Man game where you get to play as, like, so kind of like that Into the Multiverse, where it's like you're seeing all the different Spider-Man, not Into the Multiverse, what did they call that last one? I can't remember, but yeah, if they had it where you went to that Spidey Academy or whatever it was, but you got to play as like all the different Spider-Mans. And that's the thing, the only way that they'll be able to beat out this Marvel's Spider-Man 2 game is if they either have that or they have it where you get to create your own Spider-Man, and then I guess, like, yeah, be a part of that Academy thing, and then you get to take in all the different powers that all the different Spider-Mans have. That'll be the only way, where it's like you get to actually create your own Spider-Man, create the costume and all that stuff. That'll be the only way if they did something like that. And it kind of plays out like the Division or Destiny, and then they just got you traveling from place to place, planet to planet, helping out any and everybody that you possibly can. And it's like, yeah, maybe have it where like the final boss is Thanos or something, so that'll be the only way. That will be the only way that they'll be able to do that. But other than that, it's like there's no other Spider-Man game that can top this game. And that's why I would like to ask people, well, what Spider-Man game would you say would top Spider-Man 2? Because if it's the Amazing Spider-Mans, I never played the Amazing Spider-Mans, but I am open to playing them. But the thing is this, though, if my mind still says that Spider-Man 2, Insomniac Spider-Man 2 game is the best Spider-Man game of all time, it's like, fam, that it's one thing you just can't change my opinion on it, and that's why I'm like, I haven't heard nobody talk about, because when Insomniac, when they started making these Spider-Man games, it just seemed like it canceled out every other Spider-Man game to ever exist. Like, you don't even hear people talking about, I actually had to go to a retro game store to see the Spider-Man games in there, because I'm like, yeah, bro, there is nobody talking about the Spider-Man games like how Insomniac, after they came out with theirs, nobody before that was talking about any of the Spider-Man games. I feel like that was a conversation that just quietly disappeared, but yeah, I was like seeing some of the reviews. Hold on for a second. Let's just open up Steam real quick. and see Spider-Man 2. What? Wait a minute. What? How is it? I swear, I typed up Spider-Man 2, then it popped up when I was saying Spider-Man, and then when I pressed 2, then it was like it just disappeared. But no, it's crazy because Spider-Man 2, it has a very positive rating on Steam, and I'm like, if very positive, that's good. That's probably that's one of the best ratings that you can get on Steam. That and overwhelmingly positive. And the game's been out for a while, but no, let me see some of the reviews. So the first review, somebody just posted this month actually, where they was all like, while this is an improvement in the gameplay, the plot left me guessing my sanity, as it seems that this was written by a room of monkeys. Again, what could they have possibly done with the story? You're Spider-Man and you're fighting up against the villain of the story, and then I'm just confused. Like, they tried to give you a Spider-Man experience. Like, okay, if we can say that the story wasn't all that good, then the gameplay was that good to where it's like, fam, I don't think nobody, because if you want to see a Spider-Man story, then you watch the movies. But if you want to play a Spider-Man video game, then you play the video games. Like, I don't know nobody. Yeah, like that's a must. That's a key thing. But there's a lot of different games that be coming out where it's like, it ain't even, you make your own story. So they do have where it's like some story and some lore that's there and stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, fam, I played this game for the game. I didn't play it for the story. Yeah, the story was a good addition to the game itself, but I'm like, I'm not playing Spider-Man for the story. I mean, yeah, the story, like I said, it is there, but at the same time, who's going to be paying attention to the story when you get to play as Spider-Man? You get to pretty much fight crime, and you're getting it's a Spider-Man simulator. That's pretty much what it is. But anyways, no, let's see. So another person, they go on to say, really buggy for me where audio is delayed during cutscenes, game freezing constantly, and controller would have disconnect while wired, in which is first for me, as half the buttons would stop working in the game. So I don't know about that, where I'm like, because I played it on PlayStation, so maybe I do need to play it on PC to see what people are talking about. But yeah, I'm like, I ain't know nothing about, like, I guess if you're, and I'm going based off of when I had played that Miles Morales Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4, that could be the case where your PC might not be optimized to play Spider-Man 2. So people gotta, consider that too. I'm like, your gaming PC might not be all that good. So, but anyways, then the next person, they say, I really wanted to enjoy Spider-Man 2. I enjoyed the first game, had an okay time with the Miles Morales, and now we're in the official sequel. Let's do a quick review of everything good. Okay, so there was like graphics, gameplay, music, suits, story, characters, focus, Mary Jane missions, new travel methods, customizations. So where's the bad? Like, I guess they must have been blending them in and stuff, but overall, there was like story. This is the worst part of the game, in my opinion. Is, again, the story. So then another person, because I'm like, I say what I need to say about the story. The story is decent. So, but the next person, they say, I have an i9 and 4070, and it runs okay till you start swinging fast. This game runs way smoother on console. Okay, well then play it on console. Like, that's what I'm like. I guess for me, if I did play it on PC, then I might be able to relate. But it's like there's a lot of other people that's saying that the game is good. It's funny because, so they show all reviews. So there's 33,000 reviews for this game, 33,930. 27,588 positive reviews and over 6,000 negative reviews. So I'm going based off of that. I'm going based off of my experience. The game is, so that's the thing too, where I'm like, this game is Steam Deck verified. So it's like, if the game is I don't know, because I look at it, it's like, if a game is Steam Deck verified, then yeah, there's no, you must not have a good PC then, where I'm like, yeah, whoever this person is that had they was like, they let out their PC, there was like, yeah, i9 processor and a 4070 graphics card. I'm like, yeah, well, what's the RAM like? What's the motherboard? How old is your PC? Because I'm like, there's a lot of different things that you need to replace on your PC. So I'm like, if you don't have, I feel like there could be a lot of different factors on why a game doesn't run all that good. Maybe they might need to come out with an update. that could be the case. But I'm like, other than that, I'm like, yeah, if the game, my thing is this, game runs good on PlayStation, game runs is verified on Steam Deck. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I am curious. I think next time when this game is on sale, because I'll be liking my sales and stuff. I like to save money. Don't get me wrong. This Spider-Man 2 game was good, but I think I might have to do that, buy it on PC and see how it is and stuff. But anyways, but yeah, if we're talking just overall Spider-Man, like we ain't talking like whether it's on PlayStation or PC, yeah, the Spider-Man 2 hate is forced. You know, the Insomniac Spider-Man 2 game hate is forced, because I just don't know anybody in their right mind where it's like you can play this game however you want to play it, whether you're playing it on the easiest difficulty or the hardest difficulty. And my thing is that I don't know, because I guess like you can skip the cutscenes if you ain't really feeling the story and stuff. Just skip the cutscenes. I know that's what I did when I was younger. I just show the cutscenes now because I know people might be curious where like about the story and stuff. So yeah, I show the cutscenes, but I'm like I don't know. I guess like and you know what's so funny? These same people, they'll turn around and play a Souls-like game where it ain't even focused on the story at all. Like Elden Ring, nobody talks about the story of that game. That's one video game where I'm like, people mainly played it for the gameplay. I don't think I've ever heard nobody tell me. It's one of those things where I'm like, you know, people could tell me something about Elden Ring, and it just seems like that game, it's kind of all over the place, because even people themselves have said it, where it's like you don't even have to like go based off of the story. Like whatever enemy that you come across in the game, like you can fight them, and if you don't want to fight them, you can move on. So at least with Spider-Man, they do kind of have it where it's like they ain't really doing all of that, but still at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. Like, yeah, like I said, you can't skip the cutscenes and stuff, but anyways, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it's just maybe I need to do a little bit more research to understand why the Spider-Man 2 hate is, even exists in the first place. But yeah, bro, it's forced. There's no way possible you can play that game and actually not like it and stuff. And then on top of that, where it's like you say all the other, like, oh yeah, the suits are nice, the gameplay is nice, the music is nice, everything about this game is nice, but I don't like the story. So therefore, I'm gonna give it a bad rate. And I'm like, yeah, it's people like that where I'm like, y'all don't know nothing about gaming. I'm gonna just say that. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. People like that where they'll play the game and then they'll say all these good things about it, but then turn around and say, oh, the story sucked, so that's why I gotta give it a bad rating. Oh, I traded the game in, I sold it, refunded, and it's like, yeah, you don't know gaming. So, but anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. I know people are gonna probably be all like, oh, you just a Spider-Man 2 fanboy. Yes, I am a Spider-Man 2 fanboy, proud of it. You're telling me something as if like that's like telling me that I'm breathing air. Like you're telling me something that I already know. I don't care. The thing is this, because I just know that people will be all like, oh, you don't know gaming and this and that, and they'll try to argue with me, and it's like, fam, you're not going to convince me on whether or not Spider-Man 2 is a good or bad game. I know that it's a good game. You don't have to tell me otherwise. But it's like, the thing is this, you could sit here, argue with me, you could come up with all these facts, you can say that, oh, Spider-Man 2 is the worst sold game of all time, all these other different things. It's kind of like seeing a artist go mainstream for like their music and stuff, but the music ain't all that good, and then you see like that local talent where it's like, wow, that's good music. Now I think it should be up to that person that I guess that, you listen to the mainstream artists, they ain't all that good. Then you listen to the local artists that's like, that's one of the best artists of all time. Do you think somebody would be able to change your mind? So yeah, I guess like Rebecca Black, Friday, she went mainstream with that. So people, I think I feel like that might not be a good example. I really don't know who to think of when it comes to music and stuff. But I was like, but yeah, comparing her to a local artist, it's like, yeah, you'll hear that local artist and be all like, oh, that's the best artist of all time. But if we're going to use what you just, what you allegedly, because it's like y'all ain't actually say, I'm just using it as an example. But no, overall though, it's like Rebecca Black, she got more followers, so therefore that makes her the best artist based off of because I know people, I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that if Spider-Man 2 is the worst sold game of all time, and they say, oh, the original Spider-Man 2 was actually the most sold game, that game sold 50 million copies, but the Insomniac Spider-Man game only sold 40 million copies. how is that supposed to change my opinion about the game? I'm still gonna like the game. I'm still gonna play it over the old Spider-Man 2 game. So what was accomplished? I guess what I'm trying to say, with whatever it is that you're gonna try to say to me, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to say, if people ask me, out of all the Spider-Man games that come out, what Spider-Man game is the best? Spider-Man 2, Insomniac Spider-Man 2. Because I really don't. There is no other Spider-Man game that I played where I had that same experience. Even if we're talking on if I couldn't say Spider-Man 2 and I had to say one of the other ones, then yeah, Miles Morales. It had a little bit more going on than that first Insomniac game that they came out with. But I think that was what they were attempting to do. Let's come out with Spider-Man, kind of lay the foundation, go based off of that, and how can we better Spider-Man, when we come out with our next game. They came out with Miles Morales. Then they really kind of laid a little bit more of a foundation. Then they was like, okay, now that we laid down that foundation, let's elevate with this game. What could we add on top of these two Spider-Man characters? And they had all these different missions that you can do, all these different areas it was the same areas, New York and stuff. I think they might have expanded it a little bit, but overall though, I'm like, yeah, bro. And then it's then on top of that, they had it where you got to play as Venom. I'm like, it don't get no better than that. So that's why I'm like, man, anybody that's hating on Spider-Man, I'm like, yeah, you're just doing it because it's a trend. Like I said, the hate is forced. So, but anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.